From now on, I'm going to live with my mom, so you don't need to come back. Even if you manage to return, there won't be a home for you.
Clutching the paper with such outrageous words written on it, I found myself utterly at a loss in the middle of an empty mountain. I am Catherine. That day, my husband and I had gone camping together. We were enjoying our time alone as a couple for the first time in a while, but it was short-lived. When I woke up in the morning, my husband was gone, leaving behind only a small amount of food and the note. The car we used to get there was also gone. Left alone in an unfamiliar place, I was overwhelmed with despair. My husband Alexander and I met at work and got married, continuing to work at the same company. We had been important partners both at work and at home for many years. However, one day, I was called in by my boss and offered a promotion. I was genuinely happy because I loved my job, but after that, my husband's attitude changed drastically. At work, he completely ignored me, and at home, he constantly hurled insults at me.
Don't get cocky just because you got a promotion. You can't do any decent work without me.
That's not true. I'm just working hard.
What? Are you saying I'm incompetent?
Unable to bear the relentless verbal abuse, I looked to my mother-in-law Nancy, who lived with us, for help. Nancy. But even seeing this, my mother-in-law didn't scold her son or say anything. She just walked away.
No one is on your side. Why did I marry a woman like you? I should have married someone kind like my mom, who always praises me.
Since my husband started acting this way, my mother-in-law's attitude towards me also changed drastically. She ignored me, and on the days she cooked, there was no food prepared for me.
You're a woman, so make your own food. Mom, today's meal is delicious.
Alexander, you can eat it all. Catherine, you're a housewife, so don't rely on others.
I gradually grew to hate my mother-in-law, who I initially liked for her kindness. Coming home from work exhausted, there was no place where I could rest my mind and body. I was worn out by my husband's harassment every day. Despite this, I didn't divorce him because his sudden change in attitude was triggered by my promotion. I believed that if I waited a little longer, he would calm down and we would return to being the kind couple we once were. About a month later, my husband made a suggestion.
How about we go on an overnight trip together for a change?
Huh? Why all of a sudden?
We've both been working so much lately. Let's go out together for a change.
Given his usual behavior, I wondered why he was suddenly making such an invitation. But the thought of spending some quality time together as a couple after so long made me agree without hesitation. Great. I'm looking forward to it. From that day on, the harassment stopped completely. At first, I was suspicious, but seeing his behavior afterward, I believed he had genuinely invited me to show his appreciation. Surely, he's turned over a new leaf. He's back to being the man I loved, I thought. Planning the camping trip with him was so enjoyable that the previously unbearable time at home became a source of comfort. Little did I know how wrong I was. A few days later, we took a day off during the week and went to a campsite deep in the lush mountain. Since it was a weekday, there were no other guests, and after the manager checked us in, we had the place entirely to ourselves. I was thrilled and excited. This is my first time camping. The air is so fresh.
Sometimes it's good to forget about everyday life and spend some relaxing time like this. You've been tired from work lately, right? Make sure to let nature heal you. There's no one else here today, so we can relax without worrying about others.
It seemed like he was being considerate of me, who had just been promoted. He even ground coffee beans and made coffee for me. Coffee tasted so much better in such a beautiful setting. Everything about my first camping experience was fun. We made a fire and cooked together. Although the food got a little burnt, my husband happily ate it, saying it was delicious. I was having so much fun that I lost track of time. Before I knew it, it was night, and we went to sleep in the tent my husband had set up. Touched by his kindness, I began to hope that we might be able to start over as a couple. Good night, dear. Today was really fun. Thank you.
Yeah, get a good rest tonight.
The next morning, I woke up to the sunlight and the chirping of birds, but my husband was nowhere to be seen. Inside the tent, there were only my belongings and a note. Maybe it says he's making breakfast? If he had woken me up, we could have made it together, I thought, laughing as I checked the note. But I soon realized how foolish that was.
From now on, I'm going to live with my mom, so you don't need to come back. Even if you manage to return, there won't be a home for you.
I was deeply shocked by my situation. Hastily, I exited the tent, but my husband was gone, along with our belongings and the car. Why? Did I do something wrong? Being abandoned in the middle of the mountain. Overwhelmed with despair, I tried to use my phone to contact someone, but there was no signal in the mountain. Since we had planned to stay only one night, we had very little food. I didn't know how to start a fire or navigate mountain paths. I was a complete novice at outdoor activities. What should I do? I was at a loss. I hoped that if I waited, my husband would return with the car, but there was no sign of him. The manager said he wouldn't be back, so there's no hope for help. If I stay here, the food will run out. It took less than an hour to drive from the base of the mountain, so maybe I can manage if I walk. By the time I decided this, it was nearly noon. Still, I thought I could make it down the mountain before dark if I hurried. If I follow the stream, I should be able to get down. I think I saw that on TV once. Despite my anxiety, I decided to try descending the mountain on my own, but I later realized how naive that idea was. Despite walking for a considerable amount of time, I couldn't reach the base of the mountain. As the sun began to set, the dense forest grew dim, and I felt a sense of fear. If I don't hurry, I'll get lost. I need to move faster. In my haste to escape the mountain, my vision suddenly blurred. No way! I felt my body lift off the ground and then crash back down. When I cautiously opened my tightly shut eyes, I saw a different scene from before. Looking up, I saw a small cliff. I fell from up there. This is the worst. As I tried to stand up and climb back up the cliff, a sharp pain shot through my ankle. Ouch! It seemed I had twisted my ankle from the fall, and I wouldn't be able to move for a while. Do I have to spend the night here? As I sighed deeply and thought about my situation, it grew darker around me. I could hear animals in the distance and rustling noises nearby. Filled with fear and loneliness, I quietly shed tears. Why do I have to go through this? Fortunately, I found a small cave nearby that could shield me from the night wind, and I decided to spend the night there. The thought that I might not be able to make it down the mountain crossed my mind. Curled up and trembling in the moonlight, I closed my eyes.
Catherine.
As I lay exhausted and asleep, a familiar voice reached my ears. The sky had grown faintly brighter, signaling the break of dawn. Who? To my surprise, it was my mother-in-law, whom I despised. Her clothes were covered in mud, indicating she had been searching for me desperately. Nancy, why are you here?
Why? You two went out together, but Alexander came back alone. He seemed off, and I had a bad feeling. But I'm so relieved you're safe.
I was bewildered. The same mother-in-law who always ignored my pleas for help and watched silently as my husband berated me had come to rescue me. Thank you.
Let's get you to a hospital. You spent the night in the mountain, so you need to be checked out.
With that, she helped me into her car, which was parked a short distance away. I couldn't believe she had come for me. I had always thought she was on my husband's side. What could this mean? On the way to the hospital, we didn't say a word, and silence filled the car. After being examined at the hospital, it turned out I only had mild dehydration and a sprained ankle. Thank you for coming to rescue me. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't come, I said, expressing my deep gratitude. To my surprise, my mother-in-law apologized.
I'm the one who should apologize. I'm sorry for treating you so coldly. Alexander has always been a bit of a mama's boy. If I was kind to you, he would get jealous and act out.
She explained. A mama's boy? I asked, surprised. Now that she mentioned it, I recalled how my husband would often compete for his mother's attention whenever she praised me.
Mom loves me the most, so don't get cocky,
He would say, clinging to her. I never realized how severe his attachment to his mother was.
When I praised his other siblings, Alexander would get angry and yell, so they all left home to escape him. I thought if I was harsh to you, it might ease his jealousy a bit. I'm truly sorry.
She continued. I remembered how my husband had repeatedly said he wanted to get promoted before me to gain his mother's approval. Hearing my mother-in-law's story, it all made sense why his attitude towards me had changed. Please don't apologize. You were thinking of me and did what you thought was best. I'm a bit surprised, but now I understand everything.
Thank you, Catherine. But I never imagined he would go this far. As his parent, I need to discipline him properly for what he's done,
She said, clearly angry about my husband's behavior and the recent incident. I decided it was time to release all the pent-up frustration I had. Nancy, will you help me? I asked. And so, we decided to take action against my husband. When I returned home with my mother-in-law, the room was filled with piles of cardboard boxes.
When Alexander came back from the camping trip, he said you were moving out and that the movers would take all your stuff. That's why I thought something was strange.
I had already told her about the note my husband left. Nodding at her whispered words, we entered the living room. There, I heard my husband's cheerful voice, the same man who had abandoned me in the mountain.
Mom, you're back? The moving truck is coming today. Can you help me pack?
Nancy is here, but so am I. My husband's face instantly hardened, clearly showing his shock at my presence.
What?
Sorry, but I came back.
I went to the mountain to get her.
How dare you leave me there? You mama's boy. Do you realize what could have happened? I felt all my pent-up emotions overflow. But my husband, who had been surprised a moment ago, now glared at me.
I told you not to come back, didn't I? Sorry, but I've packed your things. There's no place for you in this house anymore.
He said with a smirk. I was filled with disgust. I knew that losing my temper now would mean losing. I gave my mother-in-law a look and handed over the divorce papers. Sign these, please.
So, you're finally ready to get divorced? Now Mom and I can live together.
My husband said, excitedly. But my mother-in-law's next words froze his expression.
You're the one who's leaving, Alexander.
What?
I can't stand by you anymore. You've harassed Catherine endlessly and finally abandoned her in the mountain. What you did is a crime. I won't forgive you if you do anything else to her, even if you are my son.
But I want to live here with you, Mom. Besides, this is my house.
What are you talking about? This house is in my name. You're just a freeloader. After what you've done, I've had enough. If I'm going to live with someone, it'll be Catherine.
Mom! That's so unfair. Why are you taking Catherine's side?
Because she's much kinder and feels like a real daughter to me.
You can't be serious.
The movers are coming soon, so you can leave with them. We're cutting ties.
I had never seen my mother-in-law so angry. She cared about me enough to say this to her own son. With my husband completely cowed by my mother-in-law's yelling, I decided to press further. So, we're getting a divorce. I'll be claiming alimony for all the harassment you've put me through. Let's say, around $25,000? On top of being disowned by his mother, my husband's spirits sank even further at the mention of alimony. Just then, the movers arrived.
Leave everything in those boxes as is. Please take everything from this room.
My mother-in-law instructed.
Wait a minute. Those are my things.
My husband protested.
Be quiet.
She snapped, cutting him off. I was a bit surprised by her sternness, but felt a sense of relief.
Please, give me a break.
My husband pleaded.
Let me know once you've found a place to move to.
Mom, I'm sorry. I'll be nicer to her from now on.
He begged.
It's too late for that.
Well then, goodbye, Alexander. After some time, the divorce was finalized, and I collected the alimony from my husband's meager savings. Unable to face me after the incident, my husband quit his job. I heard through the grapevine that he became emaciated after being disowned by his mother. Now, he works part-time at a supermarket and lives a modest, simple life. As for me, I still live with my mother-in-law.
Catherine, do you want to go out somewhere today?
That sounds nice. How about we have lunch outside for a change? I've grown very close to my mother-in-law, whom I once hated, and now we are like a real family.
How did you like this story? Please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.